the last video, traction management, we learned the skills we would need to avoid crashes. So now we're going to practice those skills. We'll start with a quick stop, and we'll set the parking lot up with some start cones and stop cones about 200 feet apart with plenty of room for runoff at the end if something goes wrong. We're going to move up that side of the range or the parking lot, shifting up to second gear, stabilizing our speed at about 20 miles an hour, move all the way to the stop cones, and at those stop cones we'll begin and execute a quick stop. It will look like this. The motorcycle moving, knees against tank, head and eyes up, second gear, stabilize your speed, get to the stop cones, and it's in with both hands, down with both feet, squeeze the brake lever. So both hands is braking and clutch lever, both feet is braking and downshift, and then the squeeze is something new. This is what we're adding. That squeeze is more and more and more squeeze on the front brake lever. As that weight transfers forward, the front tire has more traction, so you can apply more front brake. So squeeze the front brake lever. More and more and more until you're stopped. Hands, feet, squeeze. See that weight transferred forward? That gives that front tire more traction, allowing you to shorten your stopping distance by squeezing the front brake lever more. Do not grab the brakes. In exercise 17, targeting in turns, we're going to set the parking lot up with two circles about 60 feet in diameter. The centers of those circles are 120 feet apart. This sets up a figure 8 that we will ride, practicing our turning technique once more. So we're going to slow before the corner. At the entrance to the corner, we're going to open the throttle and hold it on all the way through the corner. And we're going to turn our head and find a target on the other side of the circle. So we're going to practice our targeting in turns. This is it in motion. Rolling on the throttle. About the midway point, you slow. Finish your slow before you get to the corner, because then it's open the throttle. Look all the way across the circle and press enough to get around it. Slow, open, look, and press. And you're looking halfway across the circle. Cut it in half. Target all the way on the other side of the turn. Slow, look. See, I'm looking all the way over at the opposite side of that circle. By now I'm looking all the way up the next circle. Remember to finish your slow before the corner. Open the throttle before you start to press. Look all the way across and target the other side of the circle. Here it is with the helmet cam. See where I'm looking? I'm looking all the way up the other side of the other circle. Slow, open, look, and I'm all the way across that circle. Press enough to get there. If you're going wide, press more. If you're going to the inside, roll on more. See that head turn? It's a good thing I'm targeting, because there's a car coming across the parking lot. Good thing I was targeting. Knew it was coming. Slow, open, look, and press. Practice targeting in turn. Exercise 18, quick stop in a curve, uses the same layout as exercise 17, so leave your markers in the same spots in the parking lot. And now we're going to ride the same path of travel, but every other, so let's say every lap and a half, we're going to simulate an emergency stop in a curve where there's room to straighten, then stop. So we're going to be riding around, targeting, rolling on, and then in our mind we're going to think, oh my gosh, there's a car stopping the way, a tree down, something. We're going to emergency stop. We're going to straighten the motorcycle, straighten our head, straighten the handlebars, and then do a maximum straight line stop. Straighten, then stop. So use the same form that you did in exercise 17, but now as you're coming around the corner at some point, emergency stop, which is two motions: straighten, then stop. Straighten your head, handlebars, motorcycle, then stop. Do not grab a bunch of brake while you're leaned over in the corner. Straighten, then stop. You're in a big parking lot, you have plenty of room, just make sure you're doing those two motions. Straighten, then stop. And don't forget that emergency stops is not grab a bunch of controls, it's hands, feet, squeeze. Hands, feet, squeeze. Straighten, then stop. The stop is hands, feet, squeeze. Here's what it looks like with the helmet cam on. Coming around the corner, still targeting in my corners. Straighten, then stop. Get my speed back up, going through the middle, slow before the corner, open the throttle, looking, targeting, pressing. Straighten, then stop. And the stop is both hands, both feet, squeeze. Make sure you're all the way straightened up before you start to stop. This can be dangerous if you grab a bunch of brake while you're leaned over, because as we learned in traction management, cornering and braking both require traction, and you don't want them both competing with each other. Straighten, then stop. In exercise 19, we're going to practice swerving. We'll set up our parking lot like this. This cluster of markers over on the left represents a car, a 10-foot wide, 20-foot long car with curbs along the top. Those three markers along the top is the outside curb, and the three along the bottom are an inside curb. So we're going to swerve around the car but stay within the road, or the curbs of the road. And then we've got some marker cones about a parking lot and a half or 15 feet from the car. We have to go through those before we swerve. And then two way down at the right side of this screen, or at the other end of the parking lot, giving us enough room to get it up to second gear, and about 15 to 20 mile an hour. We'll have another set of markers. And those markers are about 3 feet apart. Just enough to get through and line you up towards the center of that car. As you practice this, start slow, like 15 mile an hour, second gear. Hold your throttle steady. Keep your knees against the tank, head and eyes up. Look where you want to go, not at the car we're swerving around. And just press. That's forward on the handlebar in the direction you want to go. So in that case, I was pressing right and pressing left. Press forward on the handlebar in the direction you want to go. So that was press on the left hand and press on the right hand. Here we're going to swerve to the right, so it's going to be press with your right hand and press with your left hand. Pressing forward on the handlebar in the direction you want to go makes the motorcycle move. Knees against the tank, head and eyes up. Press, then slow, turn around and go back and do it again. Keep your speed steady, press. Stabilize your speed like 20 mile an hour, get through the first two markers, then press, knees against the tank, head and eyes up. Don't roll off the gas, don't slow down until you're through swerving. That's both presses. Press, then slow. Turn around and go back and do it again. What is with these cars driving on our parking lot? Be careful of that. You know, you're going to be borrowing some parking lot somewhere and people are just going to drive on there, so be aware it will happen. Try to find a nice remote parking lot. I thought I did. Anyway, steady speed, head and eyes up, knees against the tank, press, then slow. You got this. Keep practicing. This is video 11 of 13 of the Cars Suck Learn to Ride series. So be sure to check out the whole playlist if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Get yourself a hat. And if you found this useful, buy me a beer with your Google Wallet. Right on.